right. Another episode of Tech on Ice coming at you. Uh yeah. I I talked about last time about resolutions and how I kind of wanted to learn more about AI and building LLMs and all that sort of stuff. So I have some updates. So I've used it before, but I think I really wanted to give this tool its flowers because I think it's amazing for people to learn how to use LLMs without having to rely on the chat gpt or other services that you have to sign up or you have to pay for, right? And I want to talk about Ollama. For people that might not know what Ollama is, it's a tool. You can install it on Windows and other operating systems, but what it allows you to do is run LLMs, like models, locally. So you go to the Ollama website and you follow their steps. You download the tool, and then you specify what models you want to download. And these are models that these aren't just random models. These are like the models everybody uses, like the Llama models from Meta, the Phi models from Microsoft, the Gemma models from Gemini, from Google, and Mistral, and a bunch of other really really awesome models that are open source. And this is really cool because after I've kind of downloaded those models, which, just to be called, like, these models are not small, they're a couple gigabytes usually, even bigger for like some of the bigger models. You then you can run a command line. You just run by the command line. And then it has creates an endpoint locally on your machine that you can then send requests to. And what's even cooler is that there's like um, there's like a UI that you can get as well that's tied into that. So you can have like a chat-like experience that looks a lot like ChatGPT. And there's a drop down where you can specify if you have multiple models, you can select what models you want, and then you can do that. And when you build apps, you configure your app um, to hit that endpoint. If you're, let's just take for instance, if you're a .NET developer, you'd use like the Microsoft the AI SDK, um, and you wire it up so it hits those endpoints, and you can start to build AI enabled applications really quickly. And one thing that I was playing around with yesterday is, you know, I've talked about Aspire before, .NET Aspire, which is kind of like a new way to kind of think about building solutions in .NET. It's like it's a new project type basically, and then you link other projects to that project type, and then it all kind of runs it simultaneously. So what's cool is that there's an Aspire community toolkit, which has an Ollama has Ollama support. So quite literally, like, if you're a .NET developer, you can get those packages from NuGet. You can wire it up, and what it'll do is it'll spin up a container on your machine that has Ollama running on it with the models you specify. You can also elect to use the UI. Um, and then when you wire up your web app, you just HTTP slash AI or whatever, and all that service discovery is handled for you. Like, this is really cool. Like, think about what it would take for me to do all this stuff without something like Ollama. It would be almost impossible, at least getting started. Ollama makes it insanely simple to get started, like playing around these LLMs locally. You know, I was taking a look also. I'm a big fan of self-hosting. So, like, I was looking at all sorts of solutions where people are self-hosting LLMs on their own network because they want to have some chat GPT or some AI, but they don't want to, they don't want that stuff to leave their network. So they have, those sort of things wired up, and they're using, Ollama under the hood to do that, which I think is awesome. This isn't, I'm not sponsored by Ollama, I just think it's a really cool tool that I wanted to call out. And this is, my first step in, like, actually being thoughtful instead of just like, oh, I'm just gonna hit this endpoint and I'm gonna send a request and this is the API signature and I get a response back. No, I want to actually start learning how all this stuff works. So I'm going to dig deeper into what Ollama is doing and how it's actually getting all this stuff to be just a fairly simple interface. So I'll be talking about that in a future episode. But if you are curious about AI and building LLMs and playing around with these sort of things, just one step below like the current, using it as an interface sort of experience. I highly recommend Ollama. It's free. It's on Windows. The models are free, and yeah, it's awesome. I highly recommend it. So comment down below if you've played around with Ollama or if you hadn't heard about it and you're excited to play around with it now. Also, comment down below if there are certain areas of AI or LLMs you're curious about and I should look into, or advice. Um, and as always, like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.